Yay.
All right, cool. Hey, that
Hey.
that was good. All right, today it's me and Bandit Lou. Uh, no Forrestine today. Forrestine's got some teeth to worry about. All right, let's see. This is Bandit Lou. I'm Heck 7. This is What the Heck, where we talk about modular and sometimes other stuff. Um, yeah, Bandit Lou, who are you and what's the last CD you listened to in your car?
Oh boy. Um, so I make music, I guess. I make, under Bandit Lou, is an alias that I kind of make a lot of ambient music on. Um, I've been producing music for a little over 10 years now. And, Eurorack was a nice transition to kind of get away from beats. I made beats for like 10 years and kind of got bored of it and was trying to find something new. And now, you know, spending a lot of money on modular. So it's been fun. And the last CD, man, I haven't really been driving a lot, but let me look on my phone actually. So I've been listening to this guy called Douglas Dare. Have you heard of him? Douglas Dare?
No, Douglas Dare. I'm gonna add that to my watch.
He's do you know James Blake? Are you familiar with
Yeah,
James
yeah,
Blake?
yeah.
So I think it's a more less crazy version of James Blake's old stuff. But it's very good. I mean, it's melancholy, down tempo type stuff, but it's good vibes.
That's
So
rad.
that's basically what I've been listening to and just zoning out on.
That's
Yeah, check them out.
I mean, I will. That's the exact genre I've been working to lately, or just listening to, and I don't know. It's fun to make that kind of music. So that's perfect. My last CD that I listened to in a car, I think. Well, it depends on the car. I think it's either in my car. There's a DEF CON soundtrack from a couple years ago
Hmm.
in there, and that one's got a mix of artists. So you've got like some nerdcore in there and some like Manson sounding stuff,
Hmm.
the full range. But there's also like some puzzles in there. So like halfway through, there's like beeping or a small child counting and things like that.
Okay.
So it's super annoying when you're trying to listen to it. But I haven't taken the time to swap it out. And the other one I think in Kia's car is like a Adele, I want to say, or maybe Sia, one
Okay.
of those two. Both, both
I've
good.
also been revisiting like, a lot of, Marilyn Manson and Korn. I recently got back into Korn and just listening to them as, an adult. It's, it's interesting because like, I, maybe I didn't pay attention to the other bands at that time, but listening back, it sounds like they were really ahead of their time, and like just like the production and everything. I was like, oh, a lot of like little clever things, that they were doing that, maybe because I was a kid, I was like in fourth grade or something like that. Like I can't remember, the intricacies of all the music at that time, but I think, I felt like they you know, held up well over time, and it still riles me up. It's nice.
Actually, yeah, Korn is one of my favorites to go back and listen to. Manson too, I've been listening to a lot of, which is interesting because I didn't listen to Manson a lot when it was popular. I guess. I mean, it's probably still popular, um, but I think both of those bands perfectly uh, capture. I don't know what to call it. Like they never felt metal to me. Like they do have their metal moments or like alt
Yeah.
rock moments or whatever. It felt more like electronic dance music with like a heavier vibe almost, like everything you can really like bob your head to, except for
Yeah,
some of the
definitely.
tempo stuff. Yeah,
It's
yeah, they're rad.
I mean, I think that's why they're holding up over time, because it's not the typical genres that, I mean, I guess back then they were like, alternative type stuff, but I mean, I guess it's just good songwriting, it's like the lyrics and everything, and just, yeah, the arrangement, if you want to get stuff done and just put on some corn and just, chug away. It's, yeah, it's fun.
I
Music's
don't know.
awesome. I love music.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know if you have the chat open, but Enthusiastic Electrons just said
No, let
that
me open
they
it.
shot an interview with Korn at their space in LA, and there was lots of Black Velvet and sad clown paintings. Which now we got to get Enthusiastic Electrons on here at some point to talk about that, because holy crap, that seems like a good story.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
Wait, I'm opening up the chat
write
now.
that down right now.
Yeah, man. Can you hop on right now? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. If anyone that's watching wants to hop on, fire me a DM in Discord and I'll send you a link. All you need are a microphone, headphones, and probably Chrome. Uh, that's so cool. Black Velvet and Sad Clowns.
Actually, on the topic of like clowns, last night I went down a rabbit hole on it's like America's Got Talent, or the X Factor, and I was just watching, and I guess there's like this dude that dressed up like a clown, but he's just like a phenomenal singer, and it's just like really, it's really amazing. I forget his name. It's like Pudding or something like that.
Yeah,
Or Pudding's Pity Party. Yeah.
yeah, Pudding's Pity Party. I've seen those YouTube videos. I mean, not for a while, but like, it's extremely good music with this really freaking surreal clown
Yeah, and
laying down the leads.
but it was like, yeah, I was like watching like 2 hours of just like, I think I started off with like, oh, see Simon cry, and I was like, I wonder what it is, and it just like really just sad stories, then a really sad song, and I was like, oh man, it's like that was good. That was good. And then before I knew it was like 1 a.m. I was like, I should probably go to bed.
Those are the YouTube rabbit holes I've been falling into. Like, I've been careful about it. Like, a video will pop up, it'll be like Circle of Fists, and I'll be like, do I really want YouTube to recommend Circle of Fists for the next 6 weeks for me? Like, every video that anyway, that's the stuff, the rabbit hole I get down.
The algorithms, man, they get you.
And I'm aware of it. It's like instant. Like, I know this video is going to make me laugh, but if I click it, I'm going to get a whole world of videos that I'm not ready for yet. Yeah, Puddle's Pity Party. Thanks, Voices from Beyond. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what I had planned to talk about this week with Alex was the Metropolix and the Strega, and I kind of want to wait on the Metropolix because he seems pretty stoked about it, unless you want to talk about it.
I don't know about it. I know about the Strega at the last Seattle Modular streaming event. One of the guys, the podcasting guy, Tim, I think, I forget his name, but he played a set with it, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, let's talk about Strega, because it's something that super piqued my interest, not just because of the collaboration with Make Noise and Alessandro, but just sort of the form factor, what's in it, and how it works, like, and the relation to the stuff I have behind me. Like, the delay in it is this like pretty typical, I want to say crappy, like karaoke delay, I think is what it was made for. And it's the PT2339. And the only reason I know that is because I built a module, a computer module, the triple splashback, which has 3 of those things inside of it, like chained into each other. And so when the Strega appeared, I was like, holy crap, I already have that. Like I have it ready to go. Mine, like, it gets super noisy. And one of the quirks about the chip is if you, yeah, Forestine, they do cool stuff. Like this particular chip, if you lower, like, I guess if you increase the delay time too long, it turns into like super gnarly heavy noise, like almost self. Yeah, it doesn't even sound like the usual feedback you get when you turn it way up. It's like a crunchiness. Like, let me see. I think that's just the. So there's no delay yet. And this is with the delay. But if I turn it down, you'll start to hear like really crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it gets like way gnarlier than I think even the Strega has out of the box, which got me thinking about attenuverters or doing this, changing the control voltage of it so that it can go lower than it was intended to, like add extra negative or positive voltage, and you can maybe get into some of that really gnarly stuff with the Strega too. Little Angel Chorus has loads of easy mods. Yeah, I bet it does. Benjamin Izzo, yeah, that's. I definitely plan to make at least one more PT 2399 module of some sort. Probably not another triple splashback because I don't need. I want something a little bit different sounding than that. That one's an intense reverb. Yeah, very cool. But the form factor of the Strega, like, is it Eurorack size? I don't think it is. I feel like it's a little bit taller.
I thought it was just it's like the it's like the controller that they came out with too, and the Zero Coast.
Right.
Can Zero Coast can that be racked into a case?
I'm gonna throw that question out to Benjamin. I feel like Benjamin would know the answer to that, but I don't think either of those can, which is why I was interested in that format, because now you've got the no coast, the no control, and the Strega. Autograph. It's no coast size, but I don't think those, like, I don't think you can pull them out and put them into a.
Are they 3U?
It takes work to rack them. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Which is an interesting choice. Like, that's so strange to me.
Well,
I get going
you know
smaller,
what?
but
I think they're doing something cool. I mean, I think it's similar to like Roland doing like the boutique line and everything, and I think it's just making the platforms a little more accessible. Instead of trying to find a case and power supply and all that stuff, they just have it's basically whatchamacallit, a semi-modular, but in the make noise case, they're separate modules, so you don't really have to put in the work to. It's not even work. It's just like, it's just easier to get into for other people, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they seem to sort of play well with these other semi-modular instruments that are becoming quite popular right now. Like the no control, I think, is the one I'm the most excited about, just because how often do interesting controllers come out? Like,
and I think the form factor of the controller is cool because you can move it around. And, essentially, it's like if I were to build another skiff with controllers, I just put all the controllers on one skiff, and then you could kind of bring it to any sort of setup you want, and it's always just going to be there. And I think the make noise controller kind of gives you that. So, but I think that the only turnoff for me is that I am running out of outlets, so I can't plug in enough stuff. So.
Yeah, there's a reason that that other case is dim right now. I'm also
Not enough power.
I'm out of power. Well, I think it's to the point where if I plug it in, like oscillators go down a few cents, kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
need to figure out a different way to get power into this room.
Yeah.
But
And on
yeah,
top of that, it's like you want something clean too, right? If you or you want to try to eliminate the ground loop. I think ground loops are just the bane of anyone who makes music at home.
oh my gosh, yeah. And yeah, I've got these. Well, I don't know where it is right now, but I've got these little ground loop like USB things because I find the USB powered devices are the most prone to ground loops. And so I've got this like ground loop isolator thing, and they're the cheap ones from, it's probably the same on Amazon and wherever else. But I think 1 out of like 3 don't work. So right now I have ground loop happening with my one of my devices that's off right now. So
There's like another option you can try is I actually have like little, just like the battery packs, like the lithium ion battery packs. Like I have, whatchamacallit, like the touch control thing, like the touche. I don't know how they want to pronounce it, but if I plug in the USB, there's just like just an annoying, hum to it. So I just plug in like a battery pack and just power it through that, and it clears it. So that's an alternative. And also, there's like this VST called Sound Soap. So if you're mixing and you want to bounce everything,
yes,
there's a VST Sound Soap, and it'll take it out for you.
Yeah, Sound Soak's incredible.
Yeah.
I haven't had to use it too much because I don't care too much right now. Like I've got my noise floor pretty low at this point, which I'm stoked about. But like if I crank the volume way up, you can hear like alien radio or something. I don't know, but it's all coming from the drum group impact. Somehow there's a ground loop going on there, and it's not USB powered. So
I think just some modules. Yeah, just some modules. I think just they're just dirty, I guess.
Oh yeah,
nothing you can do about it.
And I'm not sure. So on mine, they're Cosmo, built by me, right? Look on the computer style, and that means the frame I built is all like wooden rails and everything. And I think on some Eurorack modules, they rely on the metal case as a ground connector. So I'm completely without that, and so far I haven't seemed to have too much trouble. I thought I had a bad problem earlier, but it was just the morphogene doing its thing.
Yeah, it's just even like my MacBook, like the aluminum MacBook, like a few years back, I was like recording something. I was making like a YouTube video, and it picked up the MacBook itself picked up like the CB radio of like the cops that were on their beat around around Brooklyn, and I was like, oh, like I didn't hear it while I was doing the video, but it picked it up in the final recording. So it's like just like excess noise and ground loops. It sucks.
Yeah, it is what it is, and I think I would be the most frustrated if I was doing something with quite a lot of silence in there. I just usually do crappy noisy stuff, so it doesn't matter too much to me. But ground loops are some of those gremlins you just can't get rid of all the time.
Yeah. That's why I add noise in all my tracks in the final mix, just to raise the noise floor so it just blurs all that other crap out.
Yeah, sound sucks great, but it's just better to add a noise floor.
Yeah.
Just make it
exactly. It's part of the lo-fi genre, I guess.
Yeah. I saw one of your sets. I think you streamed at some weird time. I missed it, but I saw a replay of it, and I was like, "Holy crap, that is awesome!" So I'm probably gonna be
Which one?
watching all of your stuff. It was from a few nights ago, I think.
Okay. Was it like a piano one? It was like really dark.
Give me a second. I can actually tell you because
Yeah.
YouTube history.
Yeah, I just recently I've been just I don't know. I just check if anyone's streaming, and I was like, I feel like streaming, and I just no schedule. Really, it's just fun to do, you know.
It might have been. Oh shoot! No, it was the one from the 21st. It's not dark.
Yeah.
It's lit. You can see the grandmother in the background.
The 21st. Let me just see which one it
I'm
was.
just copying the link and dropping it to you in this little fancy chat thing.
Okay.
That one.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that one was pretty rad. So I'll probably be going back.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, I was just trying to use the Renee sequencer.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun, but it's like I've been trying really hard to like crank out, you know, more chords. You know, I've been having like a difficult time trying to just like make it work with my music, so I rarely use it. And I think that stream was just like an exercise of me trying to get it to work, and then Morphogene is just there to kind of make things sound better overall. But yeah, no, that was fun.
Yeah, Morphogenes is. I think it's the only module I have that I'm just not clicking with right now, but it does such a good job sometimes that I have a hard time wanting to get rid of it, because like it can make things really interesting or really pretty like instantly. Like you just leave record on and you've got this absolutely insane delay thing.
Do you automate it with like any sequencer or a clock? Like I use
so I have in the
Tempe.
past. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've got a MIDI to CV thing, so I do occasionally sequence it, particularly treating it like voice, right? Like I'll sequence the start of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Because like you can, with all the CV inputs, like I use Tempe, and there's 6 channels on there, and I'll just put it into each one. You know, you might I use like a mult to kind of split some of them up, but it's to make it loop correctly, you actually have to like divide the clock like pretty intensely, so it's not always recording like on every hit.
Right.
So that's like a way to make it work a little better. And I mean, I think I can see where you're coming from. Like I'm having a hard time with Morphogene, where everything is starting to sound the same to me. It's like everything I feed into it, I don't know, it's just like, all right, it literally kind of spits out something. I mean, it still sounds cool, don't get me wrong, but to me, it's like, all right, I want to do something a little different, and I'm having trouble trying to get like that different type of sound from it.
Yeah, I tend to fall in the trap of either getting like wall of granular synthesis sound from it, or like more often than not sort of sparkly, like when I crank up the morph all the way, that kind of a thing where you get the stereo. And that's something I do like to do, because my setup doesn't have a lot of stereo right now, so it's kind of fun to just add that every once in a while to add some depth to your head. But those are the two things I fall into, and I have tried turning it into more of an instrument like volt per octave, and it definitely is doable, but is super duper finicky. Like, I was hoping that would be something that I could set up and then feed some different sounds in, do a quick tune, and then also have like a new instrument, right? And that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like 3 settings really that I set it at. It's either all the way clockwise, all the way counterclockwise, or I set it to green, where it's just like at the, the same pitch. And it's hard. And what's annoying with the Morphogene too is that it's like that 0, the datum, I guess, for that green thing, it's just like so small, and it's, if you bump it, like, it's so easily to like bump it off of that green setting.
Yeah, and
that's why they do that.
I don't know. They should have made it a little wider there, but the one that really gets me is the octave down. I think it's white. Like you just go down 1 octave. That one, I can't do it if I want to. It's only ever on accident. It's so finicky, and I've been debating popping the knob off and putting as big of a knob on it as I can, just to get me
so you can get like
much more control.
I mean, if they notched it, I think if they had like just like a set notch, that would have been nice.
I almost feel like the green moves a little bit, but maybe that's just me.
I mean, it could, it's like it's so fine, like.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's still an awesome module. Like for what delay are you using? I use the Mimiaphone.
Yeah.
And that's a fun delay.
That's one of the modules. Like, I'm considering selling the Morphogene and swapping it out for something, and that's on the list of things I might swap it for.
Yeah, the Mimiaphone is really fun. I mean, I think they work nicely together, actually. It really opens up the Morphogene, and you don't have to rely on the Morphogene of doing like the repeats. If you just send it to the Mimiaphone and just crank up the feedback a little bit, it kind of does its own thing, and then you'll kind of get more of like a play between the two, instead of just feeding the signal into Mimiaphone and just having one route that kind of plays well together.
Yeah, and that's probably my issue, is I usually just send a boring signal of some sort, and like Enthusiastic is no, Benjamin, you should feed microphone into Morphogene. I don't feed microphones into it usually. I do piezo. Well, I guess piezos are microphones, right? But I do it from like ears modules. Like I've strapped a piezo to my ukulele and gone like that into Morphogene with the twinkly setting. It's just dreamy. Can't beat that. And some other things like that. I also have this little music box module that I made that's basically an ears with the music box strapped to it. That's also another good one for Morphogene. If you're looking for
I mean, like, I originally got Morphogene because of its looping capabilities too, but I mean, it's good, but I think I need more. And it's like the intro tape loopers. I think those are really intriguing to me, and I actually want to get 2 of them. That would be pretty sweet to have like four reels, and then with Morphogene too, it's like, but that's like that's like $2,000. That's like $2,000.
Yeah, I mean, every module's
like $600
cost.
Like $600, dude. Like God.
I guess that's sort of a pro for like the no coast and the no control and the Strega.
Yeah,
they're like $500 to $600, and you don't have to buy a case in addition. Like, you don't have to worry about power supply. Like, it just
it just works, right?
Yeah. Versus like this, like in regular modular, you have to build out the system the way you want, slowly and costly.
Yeah, I think I got a bigger case, and then I was like, oh man, I'm gonna try to fill it up now, But then I was like, all right, wait. It's like, hold on. It's like I just bought like panels instead. I was like, I'm just gonna leave it blank for a little bit. I mean, I still have to get a handle on some other modules, so I'm just gonna try to be disciplined in that way and just kind of just master like the modules I have now, instead of just like accumulating more, which is what is fun. I mean, that's the fun thing, especially if, you have the ability to. It's kind of, that's the fun part. It's like just playing with new toys every time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a good strategy. That's what I'm doing. It's why another reason why that other case is fairly empty. Like these first two cases I filled up in a matter of a couple months because I just like I think it's fairly straightforward, not necessarily easy, but it's fairly straightforward to design your first case in terms of what modules you need, because you need some sound sources, you need some VCAs, you need some like ADSRs, like some of this standard stuff. And because it's Cosmo, every one of those is gigantic, so it fills up the case pretty fast. So the first two cases I filled up pretty quickly. In this other case, I'm being more cautious with it. I'm even debating adding a single row case up top for like utilities and things.
Yeah.
So I am taking my time at this point, because again, with wooden rails, I have to be very intentional about where stuff goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing, and yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think back to like the no coast and everything, it's just like the amount of modules and options there are, it's just so overwhelming. I think that's why it took me a while to get into it, where I was like, you know what, I just went and I just bought a semi-modular. It's like, I can't be bothered with, trying to design this thing. It's like, I think I did like years of just like reading up on it, but I never took the plunge. And it's like, until I actually took the plunge, it's like when I, got more accustomed to what's what. But yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it takes a while to know what's going on, and like I didn't know anything about Eurorack at all. Like there's so many modules, it's overwhelming for me to like, I don't know, start looking into it. But Cosmo is like, I think there's like 30 total modules or something like that, and half of them are from Look Mom No Computer, and the other half are from like random people on the forums, and most of those are like just the usual DIY Eurorack modules, just in a bigger format. So that was easy for me to grasp onto, and from there now I've been hanging out here with people like Benjamin. I'm learning a lot about actual Eurorack modules beyond the 3 I have.
Yeah, and I think it's like, overall, it's just like the more you just experiment, it's like, I mean, it's just like a work in progress, right? So
yeah, I sent an invite to Tim Code. We'll see if they pop on too.
Okay.
And yeah, the Cauldron of Bats, the 1/4-inch jacks are part of the appeal, although there's a couple people on the forums that I know of that instead of using 1/4-inch jacks, they use 3.5 millimeter jacks. And what they do is, on like the Look Mom No Computer modules, they just put a washer in so that they don't fall through the holes. But I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. Like, the cables are cool, bigger. Like, I can use the same cable for my guitar as I can for the modular. Great. And they're easier to find in longer lengths, I think. But it's hard when you're trying to connect it to like Eurorack modules, or like some of the gear I have over here is semi-modular, or like the Micro Freak has some CV inputs and outputs. So like, to connect those, basically I've just got like a gajillion of these stupid adapters that you never have enough of, right, when you need them. So I can see wanting to do Cosmo format, but using the smaller cables would be, I think, ideal. But the big knobs are there's no contest. It's so much more fun to use, and I think easier to use. Like Eurorack modules, like you can see this. Like, if you have a few modules and you turn something that has a smaller knob versus a bigger knob, you'll feel a very big difference in how easy it is to turn, which makes it so you can like turn it faster with bigger knobs, or more accurately if you're trying to fine tune something. But I like the larger form factor just for that. And it's easier to solder together, less surface mount. Yeah. Oh, sounds like Tim Code's gonna pop on too.
Oh, sweet.
Knobs also, they're probably my most expensive component outside of potentiometers. They're hard to find good ones that I like. Locally sourced. Oh, cool.
Aren't there like the standard like knobs that Moog uses? And oh, hey.
Hello.
We can hear you. Perfect.
You can hear me?
Yeah,
Good, I've got
first try.
Better than me. I think we tried. I just reconnected 3 times and then it just.
Oh wait, I have to mute. I'm getting a delay, like a mimeophone thing here going on because I've got the YouTube and.
Oh yeah, you gotta turn off the YouTube video. That's cool. All right, we have enthusiastic electrons too.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Who are you? And
Thank you.
What was the last CD that you listened to in a car?
I'm Tim, aka Tim Code, aka Enthusiastic Electrons, and I don't have a lot of CDs, but it was pretty much exactly a year ago that I went to Sarah Bell Reed was doing a demonstration of playing her flugelhorn into Max with a buchla and all sorts of things happening at Perfect Circuit. Bought a CD, put it in the car, and it's probably still in there. So
yeah, I feel like that's why I liked that question. Is it's really what CD is stuck in your car right now?
Right. I also have some Tibetan monk music. I think that I like stopped for some coffee in Topanga Canyon once, and I was like, I want some Tibetan monk music. So it's a hippie shop, so I bought that.
Good for a relaxing ride.
That's good. Yeah.
I could vibe with that on a long drive.
Yeah, it seems like perfect desert road trip music.
Yeah. So no, it's been great hearing you talk about all of this, these things. I've got the No Coast. Started out with that, and it was actually 2 years ago that I got into modular. Like I've known about modular since I was a teenager. Like I saw the prog rock, the big, Moog stuff and whatnot, and that was that was the dream. But it was like 2 years ago. I was actually working on my daughter's preschool had a fundraiser where they were doing a music festival theme, and so different parents could run different areas. And so I said, I'm going to do the electro tent. It was like the Kidapalooza or something like that instead of it was Kidchella. Sorry, Kidchella. So yeah.
Kidchella.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to build. Like I used to build a lot of like MIDI controllers and things like that for video projections. And so I thought, I can do, I'll make a MIDI controller that the kids can play with. It'll be sort of inspired by modular. So I bought a bunch of big knobs. I bought a bunch of 1/4-inch cables, and I built this big thing out of cardboard that was exactly all the fun you're talking about with the big, the big patch cables, and so kids could just mess with it, and you'd press a button, it'd make a cool sound. And but when I was researching that, I was like, I should check out, see if there's modular synthesizers. Looked at, I was like, does that exist now? And I was like, oh, Analog Haven, that's like a mile from work. So I went in there, and mind was blown. I was like, this exists now. And then my work moved to right near Perfect Circuit. And
oh, sweet.
So yeah. So anyway, so I started out with the No Coast, and my idea was I just wanted to have something that was very small and performable, and I wanted to start performing again because I used to play keys long ago, like jazz, like in college, and I haven't really performed since then. So the idea was start with the No Coast, and then build just a very small improv performance setup around that. So I got the 48 HP 4MS pod, and they go really, it matches. And so that's what I was talking about with the idea with the case is at this point I now have more modules, and so I've got I have 2 pods, they're full, lunchbox, it's full, I've got some modules just piling up. So so the idea is to have like a 126 HP like 7U or 6U case, but then within that case, have a space for the no coast and the no control, where they'd be sort of slightly raised. Maybe they're held in with Velcro or something, to hold them in. So they're basically part of the rack. So the entire thing can be, moved, patched, but they're not like, I'm not going to, mess with trying to actually have them rack mounted. So
That's cool.
it's my idea. So it would basically be the same sort of a similar width to this keyboard. So it's designed to sit above the keyboard and be part of that sort of setup.
Yeah,
That's
I've been
awesome.
chewing on something like that for them. Like I'm in no rush to get them, but like this bass I designed I built for my rack with the speakers in it. That front panel is loose, like I can pop it out and swap it out, and I think it might just be the exact right size, or even slightly taller than those. So I could theoretically make a panel, tape them, bolt them, whatever, and then slide it in when I want to use them. So I think it's a smart move. Like I rather enjoy those interfaces that are not particularly, like it's fun to use things that are a little more expressive than a keyboard, even though a keyboard's great. Like the Micro Freak I love, and it's, I think, just the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is when I was I had some SQ1s, and those are they're great little synthesizers. They're inexpensive and really versatile for being so small. You can do a lot of different things. And then I was like, I'd like a more something that's more expressive. As I was looking at Renee, is it pretty much almost exactly a year, I guess it was a little less than a year ago. Look, I was like, Renee, I was like, that's kind of it's more expensive than I really want to spend. I also don't have any rack space for it. That's huge. And then I just played with the Pittsburgh, what was their new one last year? Lifeforms. No, it wasn't Lifeform. It was like it was the new voltage research lab, something like that.
Voltage, yeah, that one.
And but the keyboard for, or the touch controller for it, I really like. And I think that predates it. It might be a Lifeforms one, but it's like a set of 5 and 5 touch plates, which can be sequenced. And I really liked that. I played with that, and it's just something about it that I really, really liked. So I was looking at all those, and I thought, these are all, they're, maybe I could build my own with, like a Teensy or something like that. And like the next day, the no controller was announced. And I said, that's, because it was going to go with a no coast anyway. So I was like, that's, and I love it.
Yeah.
It is so expressive, and it is, sort of find things that you don't necessarily expect. So because it is all so fuzzy, there's no quantizing of anything.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, that makes me want that controller.
Yeah.
But I don't have enough outlets. My dilemma. That's my dilemma right now.
Right.
You were looking at cases too, Bandit Lou, right? Like what size cases were you looking at?
So I have these 3 skiffs, like an 84 and 2 104 skiffs, and I was like, I'm just gonna get skiffs and just have them independent. And I mean, as you can see, like everything's kind of put away. Like the skiffs are back there. Like I used to have, like, my previous apartments and studios, I would have everything out like all the time. Like, can just make stuff anytime I want. But I think it's just a little overwhelming, at least for my process. Like it just became too overwhelming, where I was just like, you know what, I'm just not even going to use those, and I'm just going to use the things that I like anyways. So it's kind of like everything's getting dusty. It's like, might as well just put them away. So I just started putting things away. And when I was getting more into modular, I was like, well, what's the point of getting a huge case? I really don't have the real estate to kind of leave it out anyways. So I was like, I'll just get these little skips, and they'll be independent. And then the idea is, when I make music, it would be really deliberate on what I use, the tools I use, and it's kind of like the first world problem is like, oh, you need limitations to make music, which is a good thing to have, I guess. But so that's the idea. But as I was doing more live streams on EMS, I would put stuff away, I'd unpatch everything, and then, or let's say like I took out a skiff and I'll start making stuff like, oh, I really wish I had another oscillator, or I really wish I had the morphogene with me. Like, all right, I gotta take it out, make room for an outlet to like plug in, and it just became like, then like readjust like my desk, and it's like, I just want everything in one freaking thing, and just like one outlet, or in this case it's two, so it's better than three. And it's just like where I can just access the modules that I want, but at least I can put away. So I settled with, I've been waiting for the IntelliGel stuff, but I can't get my hands on them. They're like sold out everywhere all the time. And then I was looking at like the Pittsburgh structure too, but they're like the bigger cases. I was looking for something that was 12U, at least 9 or 12, and like everything is like furniture grade like things, and,
Yeah.
and they're quite expensive too. And going back to power, it's like I just wanted something that had clean power and good power. It's like at least something on one of my make noise skips with one module, like I just get like this weird like high pitched like whine, and sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, depending how I plug stuff in. So it's essentially there's a ground loop somewhere. But anyways, yeah, I settled with the MDLR. They have like a compact travel case, and it's a 12U 94 HP. I just bought it, so I should know.
Cool.
Their stuff looks great.
But it's like, it's just so expensive. I think if I was looking for something that would, I'm in a rental right now with my wife, and we're going to be moving around, and it's just like the idea. We've been at this place for 3 years now, and just like the idea of moving, just especially like all of my music gear. It's like when the movers come, we got movers for the first time on our last move, because like we just started, once we got married, we just started accumulating stuff. It's like I don't want them to touch any of my music stuff. It's like I'd rather just throw it into my car, make the trips myself, and it's just like the thought of moving like a huge modular system just gives me a lot of anxiety for whatever reason. So I was like, I just want a case that I can just fold up and pick up. So, paid premium for it, but I think it'll be good.
That's cool.
And
that's very cool.
Yeah, trying to not buy more modules to fill it up. I think that's the real struggle right there. It's like, ooh, I got another 100 HP. It's like, what can I put in there?
I started out with just a few, just like the little pod and then another pod, and like I keep buying blank panels that I like, but I just never have enough space to use them. And it's not that I have so many modules. It's just I have such tiny cases. So just find some good blank panels and savor them.
Yeah, I'll just super glue them on. I'll never take them off. Like, oh well, I can't get them off. I guess that's just can't get that module.
Yeah, we actually just moved and recently, and that is one nice thing. It would be nice to have a case that you could just close up and move, but on the other hand, all the little ones, they all just sort of fit into a little vintage frame, like an old suitcase we had, and so let's move that by itself. But
mine are a suitcase size. Like this one has a handle even that folds up.
You have a case for it, or a cover that goes on?
No, but
I guess you'd make one, right? Yeah.
I could make one, and that's maybe on my to-do list. But I designed it in a way that nothing sticks out beyond the edge of the case. It's still not like the same as having an actual cover. Actually, that's not true. The door stopper sticks out now. I didn't anticipate having a door stopper attached to my modular, but
nice.
Yeah, I do.
I know. I've been sort of planning like what the case that I was describing would look like, and I was like, I'd like a top on it, but I also kind of I really like the ones that are just sort of just nice sleek wood on the outside and don't have any hardware for closing a top. So I thought of an idea where it would just there'd be almost like a shoebox where there would be a wooden top that slides on top of it and then latches on somehow, but you could just remove it entirely. But that, this case keeps getting bigger and bigger, the plan for that. So now I'm just going to make a skiff with no bells or whistles, just like start with that, go from there.
You just got to build out your wall.
Yeah.
And just make your whole entire wall into a case.
Yep.
Yeah, you can always go vertical, man.
Yep.
People with like really tall cases, I'm like, I would get so annoyed. I don't know, it's like you have a stepping stool, to go up and like unplug stuff.
That'd be cool. Or have like a vintage, like an old fashioned library, like the ladder.
Oh yeah, like a ladder.
The rolling ladder.
Right.
So when I made the this case over here, I did stack all three of them. Like it was this tall. Like it's awkward to plug things in at that height. So I decided I was gonna go wider.
Yeah, I'm dedicated. Since being a keyboard player originally, I'm sort of dedicated to this form factor. Like the horizontal in front of me kind of form factor, and not the whole wall thing necessarily. I say now, check back in a year, but yeah.
I mean, I really like the wall. It just meant two things. One, I no longer sit down. At all.
Well, that's good.
Like I got a chair, you can see it over there, covered in patch cables, maybe.
Yeah.
And two, I don't know. If I was sitting down, I'd have to like sort of. You've seen them all over YouTube and Facebook, like the synth. I don't know what to call synth caves, where people have like the full U shape all the way around them within chair's reach. And this allows me to like, A, I can't really do that here. The floor is sloped, and B, like I'd rather just walk over to the thing. And since I'm standing, It's not a big deal.
You got to build a cockpit too, like the one.
Yeah, I actually was thinking like that top row would be great if it came just like over me somehow. But this is freestanding. There's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
So I'd have to, like, I don't know, get some ratchet straps. I've seen some people like ratchet strap from like their table all the way over the top of the box to hold everything together.
Oh my God.
If it's like on the ceiling and you're just like on your back somehow, then like the cables won't, they'll just be dangling down. They won't get in the way of other modules,
If you're looking for a case idea, I was thinking maybe like a used bunk bed would be sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you could just put it under that top bunk.
And then this line underneath the bed underneath there with just some big speakers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I think with the type of music I make, I would just fall asleep. Just like, okay, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I couldn't make the ambient stuff that I do lying down. I could, but it wouldn't last very long. You'd be like, why is he still playing that loop? Because it's dark and
it's like, he's passed out.
Yeah, I'm gone.
I hate to do this, but I actually need to step away for a few minutes.
Okay, we can. I mean, it's 9. We can keep going, or we can call it. Up to y'all.
It's up to you. I'm just chilling. I recently left.
Don't stop on mic.
All right, go do your thing, Tim Code. We might be here when you're back.
All right, cool. Thanks. Sorry about that, but thanks.
Yeah,
for
no worries.
Electrons. Yeah, bunk bed synth is definitely like on my list of things that I want to do at some point.
I mean, it's like now like the electric bill too. It's like, because like you see people with like everything on, and it's like you don't use all those. That's why I like the skips too, because then it's like, well, I don't have everything on all the time. That I'm,
Yeah, I'm actually not confident enough in my stuff to leave it on all the time. I feel like this much DIY probably deserves a little bit of adult supervision. But
put a breaker switch in your case too, just in case something fires off.
I just have I can just yank the cords out of the back, or the actual breaker for the house is right behind the case, so I can just start flipping things if I needed to. But yeah, I think there's some things I can understand leaving on all the time. As far as I know, most modulars don't use a ton of power unless they're doing a lot of digital things.
Mhm.
And those, even I don't know a ton about, like if they have Arduino base or whatever. I think they use a bit more power. Like my oscillators with the tuner baked into them, those use more power than I think just about anything else. Maybe the MIDI to CV uses a little more too, but
Mhm.
overall it uses very little. It's like point. I measured the whole case at one point, and it was like 0.3 amps or something.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So
Okay.
I think you could leave it on if you wanted to and not have like the worst power bill in the world.
Mhm.
Um, like a fridge uses more than that by far. So
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that puts things in perspective a little bit.
um, yeah. Let's see what else. Uh,
What's the next topic?
I'm looking at the list. We covered those.
By the way,
Circuit.
what circuit?
I was gonna bring up the circuit. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I always like to plug my favorite. Wait, I'm unplugging some stuff right now. Because people ask me how I sometimes get my warbly sound.
Oh,
This
what
is,
is the Von Gone Ultra Shoot? Tell me more about the Von. That's way better topic. Let's talk about that.
oh my God. When
Ultra
so they're
Shoot.
like a little boutique synth company I think Cali, but they so it's basically a tremolo vibrato pedal with um, reverb. But the cool thing about it and how I get like my tape sound is this setting right here, random. I
Random.
can set the vibrato to random instead of cycle, and it sounds like tape. With these settings right here, just a little bit,
That's so
but
good. Instant variation. That's great.
and it's because like sometimes there's like the tape emulations um that people have. I mean, you can basically do it. It's just an LFO, right? But with an LFO, it's cyclic and it just sounds really repetitive. But make it random, it sounds like an actual tape deck.
Yeah,
So everyone out there who's wondering, that's my secret weapon. It's really not that secret, but I use it on everything. It just makes it just adds character, and as long I don't think I overkill it. Maybe I do. I don't know. Forrestine said that that I love that effect, but what can I say? It's got a special place in my heart.
that's cool. I'm like already trying to think about how I would do that, and I think I'd have to use like a couple LFOs at least. Like
Yeah.
the bigger LFOs I have a lot of voltage control, including the rate at which they're at. So if I used a second LFO to control that with maybe a random waveform, might be able to get close to that. But I don't know.
I
That's
mean, it's the thing I've been trying with at least electronic and modular music that I've been making is one, make it generating and not make it as I guess robotic. And with this pedal, it definitely adds a lot more vibe to it. But it's just like playing around with just variable waves and just using that to like modulate, even like the sequencer. Um, it does wonders. On the matriarch, there's in the modulation section, there's a variable wave, and I'll just route that into the clock division for the sequencer, and it just you can make it as crazy as you want it, but it's just it kind of brings it back to a little more human feel to it, as funny as it sounds. Like I'm a human programming a modular to make it sound like how I would play it, but I don't want to play. But I actually don't want to play it.
right.
I
It
don't
sounds
know.
more
Yeah,
organic, or
yeah,
it's not the same exact tone over and over again. It's got
yeah.
some differentiation to it. Yeah.
Yeah, check them out.
I think the only way I
Bon.
get that feel is literally manually, like you'll occasionally see me in a video like a hand on 2 cents, like adjusting the cutoff filter, or like the spread
Yeah.
of a delay or something like that, so that I can get that sort of feel on the more ambient tracks.
Yeah, I mean, you just need something that's more variable, like like the variable wave, and yeah, I mean, it's fun, especially if you kind of get a patch that can kind of evolve. And going back to Morphogene, what I'll do is I use Tempe, and you can kind of clock divide everything all over the place,
Yeah.
and I'll just do like random stuff and just kind of then play a sequence, set the wetness kind of like, at like 3 o'clock, and then just let the thing do its thing. But I think you do, with Morphogene, you run out of splices, or I have to figure out how to like work the automation for splicing, where it's not like splicing like all the time, and then it essentially just turns into a single tone and just like little bleeps. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to try to humanize, the Eurorack system.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think some of the other things that are like that help with it, especially like in modular, are these like analog components. And it's not because I think analog sounds better or anything like that. It's just like these oscillators change with the temperature, right? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta let it warm up 30 minutes for it to be pretty consistent. But even then, like, because the components I use to build them are all slightly different, like I didn't measure the resistors to be exactly the same. If I go up an octave on one oscillator and they both have the same like voltage control as the other oscillator, the same oscillator, they'll drift just enough apart, like that you get some like phase just cancellation and things like that. So I think that unreliability helps a lot to add some variation to the music I make, in terms of like slower sound changes where you can really hear that stuff. And compared to like some of the digital oscillators, like on the Microfreak, there's some really good digital oscillators, but they're usually pretty much the same. That changed recently with the noise engineering ones they added, that those are beautiful, crazy things, but for the most part, the digital oscillators I have sound pretty like the same all the time.
I mean, it's interesting. I was watching, like, I've been trying to work on my vocals too, so I've been watching like, singing class and stuff like that. And, being perfectly in tune and having perfect pitch isn't necessarily always the best thing. And it's like when you listen to a lot of like really famous singers, they, you have the piano, the person playing the piano play the notes, and the singer, unless they need to hit the note, they're usually singing around that perfect pitch, and it adds adds character, adds a little more depth, because I mean, even if you go and just like the harmonics, like if everything is like perfect, you don't really get the the subharmonics, or just like like you said, like the phase, right? The phasing, and that kind of adds more to the spectrum. Because if everything was perfectly in tune, it just sounds super clean, kind of sterile almost.
Yeah, it's not the coolest. Like the THX note, right? Like that note that starts with super detuned oscillators, and then they come into alignment with each other. The reason that sounds so cool isn't because they're all in tune at the end. It's like the stuff before it that adds that contrast to when they're in tune, that makes you like, all of a sudden you feel good when you get there. Like, and I think playing around the note gets you that too.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, the Look Mom No Computer one, where he had like all what was it, like how many oscillators, like 1,000?
1,000 oscillator mega drum.
1,000.
Yeah, I have seen that, and I will say I think it's ridiculous and awesome, but I get the same exact sound with the 10 oscillator version. You can't tell the difference. Like, maybe the other one's a little noisier, but like,
Yeah.
I think at a certain point, it's just all like there's so much phase cancellation. Yeah, it sounds great.
I mean, I think it's something that would be cool to hear live, but something to hear, on like a recording, like saying like iTunes, right? Or like, whatever. He made a song with 1,000 oscillators on iTunes. You're like, oh, well, that's interesting that he did it that way. But it's kind of like going to a show and feeling like the bass and everything. Like, that's part of the experience of going to a show versus listening it, on your earpods.
I agree. And it's not the same even just having 2 speakers, right? Like, I think the magic of his is he could hook up like 10 speakers, each to a different column or row, right? And just like the action of like the fact that you can't hold your head perfectly still just is going to add so much variation, and just moving around is going to cause all sorts of weird phase cancellation. I think that's going to be amazing just to sit inside of those speakers.
It would be the ultimate ASMR experience, right?
It's intense though. Like, I can say like it's hard to listen to for very long. Like I tried to watch a bit of that like 24 hours.
I turned the volume all the way down. I had to turn it all the way down and be like, all right, that's like, you probably went deaf. I don't think I had hearing protection on it.
Well, he had it really low. Turns out, like he had it like super low, because even low, it's like the most oppressive sound after a while. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, he pushes you to the floor. But it was fun to play with on that stream. I sort of wish like YouTube had been able to capture 24 hours and for playback, because what I was doing is I was loading it up in multiple tabs and like skipping back an hour and having both of those playing, and just like
really
cool chords that way. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, so every new tab you open is another 1,000 oscillators you're hearing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he does like a lot, like he does a lot of cool stuff. It's just like, with like the Furby organ and things like that.
Yeah, so I think I've never really talked about how I got into modular, but it's entirely because of that dude. But I didn't even care about, like, I didn't know about modular very much. Like, it wasn't mainstream enough. For a while there, I wasn't paying too much attention to music or anything like that. So I hadn't, like, I'd maybe seen him around here and there, but I didn't know what it was. And then I think I went down one of those YouTube click holes and got to, like, I don't know, Bo Beats or Andrew Huang or one of those dudes that leads you to like Noir Blanc and all of the YouTube people that do synthesizer shit. And then all of a sudden I was introduced into Eurorack, and I was like, there's no fucking way I'm doing that, because it's going to be so expensive and it looks really hard and whatever. I have cool synthesizers here. Mm-hmm. And so then I built one because it just seemed like a cool thing to do. Like, if I'm gonna get into modular, I'm gonna try to do it low budget. Building it is, just to be clear, is not low budget unless you do it like perfectly or you build a lot of things. But that's how I got into it, was that crazy dude on YouTube with the Furby organ that I absolutely want to play. And I can't believe it's not in more videos, but maybe just everything sounds like that song. So
where's his museum? He has a museum where it's at, right?
Yeah, the Museum of Everything Else, and it's in I can't remember the name of the town, but it's in the UK. And
it's in the UK. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Look Mom No Computer is definitely a gateway drug for sure.
Yeah.
Children of Bats.
We should, when pandemic is over, we should definitely do a little field trip out there.
Holy crap, it's on my
That'll
list
be fun.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah. I'm hoping he'll have Synth Bike up again for that.
There's also like this other store where they just have every synthesizer that was ever made. And
yeah, there's a few places
it's in Europe
like that.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's like Toman, which is like Synth Reactor or whatever that huge store is, and then there's like there's a couple. I think they're like
It was in Europe
synthesizer
somewhere.
archives or something, where it's like
Yeah.
like the one that Look on No Computer went to at one point, and a few
Yeah,
other
yeah,
people
that was
did
the
too.
one.
That's just
Yeah.
like, it's got everything there, which is pretty crazy because that'd be a fun one to go to. And it looks like they have a way for guests to come in. I don't know if you can request a particular synthesizer, but they've got a few out and plugged in and ready to play. Like, it looked pretty cool.
And they let you record stuff there too, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, very generous.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, I
aggressive.
mean, speaking on synthesizers, like, that's what really got me into music way back when I started. I started with like an Alesis. I remember there's, you ever listen to Dorian Concept? You know Dorian Concept? You should check him out. It's, I don't know if he's made any new music, but he's essentially a jazz keyboardist that can make a microchord and a Alesis Micron, like those little like synthesizers, like the stuff that he cranks out of them is just like amazing. Like he uses like every feature, like he really just unlocks it. And I remember watching his videos, and I got like an Alesis Micron, and then from there it's just like you get into vintage synths. And another cool synth that I have is the Waldorf XT. I think I was talking to someone on one of my streams about it. It's the Waldorf Microwave XT. That's a really, really beautiful synth. It's a wavetable, and it just embraces the digitalness of what it can do versus like being analog. And it's, yeah, like you'll listen to some videos on there and like, oh my God, it sounds so lush and amazing. And it's a purely digital synth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk about that on a future episode because I want to hear some sounds and see it.
Yeah, I think of course I have those synths put away because I've been focusing on modular stuff. And I was like, maybe I should just take it out. Yeah.
No, not right now. Like, I think we're on a good topic. Like getting into this stuff. Like I did not care for synths for a long time because I think when I associated synths with music, it was like cheesy 80s, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's like what I was associating it with. Like it never occurred to me like that, I don't know, Prodigy and like half the bands that I liked were using synthesizers in really sick, cool ways. And that didn't occur to me like until I guess last year, maybe so. Maybe a couple years ago, actually. But it started when I got my hardware thing. Started when I got this stupid thing like on sale, like a pocket operator, right? Like that got me started, and I was like, okay, I've got that. And I did some other stuff, and it just escalated very quickly.
I was just showing.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're fun little things.
I forget how like. I don't love how they sync with other things, and I wish I could. But, like, as far as like little groove boxes that are amazing go, they're unstoppable. They're so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it escalated pretty quickly. Like, it got a circuit, got a Korg MS-10 because I found a broken one on eBay, and it actually wasn't broken. I don't think the person knew how to use it. There was just like some knobs that. Badly needed cleaning, so I pulled it completely apart thanks to a few videos on YouTube, and that was the start of me feeling comfortable doing some tinkering and DIY stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it's always scary pulling apart something that you just bought. They're like, God damn, like, do I really have to?
It was. I can't say that it is anymore because like my partner got me at Megatron Oditron up here somewhere that's like this little digital synth for Christmas, and it's awesome. It's like analog modeling and just very 8-bitty at the same time, but when I got it, like there was some funky stuff happening, so I think within an hour of opening it, I had taken it to the garage, pulled off the jacks, soldered new ones on, cleaned up some of the connections inside of it, put it back together, and it was great. I don't know.
Yeah, you gave it an upgrade.
Yeah, it got a serious upgrade because it had these like 1/4-inch plastic jacks, which I'd never seen. But I don't think that was necessarily the issue. So, but I figured while I was in there, I'll put in some good ones, so I did.
Yeah, might as well. It's
So
like,
that's
I mean,
solid.
it's like my Technics 1200 when I got it. You know, the ground wire was like separate. You know, I basically took it apart, changed out like, replaced the RCA wires with like higher quality ones and put in like a nice little ground thing, so I didn't have to freaking loop it on the preamp, and just things like that. It's just like, you just upgrade the machine. But speaking of DIY, you ever hear of Black Corporation and their synthesizers?
Black Corporation, if I remember correctly, is the they make, I think, is it the
Deckard's Dream? And
yes,
like
the Deckard's Dream, and I think they also don't they have another one that's a clone of the
the Kijimi, I think
2600 or something. I don't remember. But yeah, the Deckard's Dream is their big one. And I think they have multiple Deckards, right? They have the one that's a standalone, and then I think they have a synthesizer or modular module for it.
Yeah, I think that the module's coming out. But I was looking at it because, I mean, it sounds amazing. I mean, it's crazy expensive. Yeah. But the DIY kit is literally half the price. And I was like, huh. But I think it's like people are talking about like their experience building it. And they're like, unless you really love soldering and you're really confident in it, it's like you're probably going to have a terrible time. So I was like,
So it's there's a lot to it. I read something similar as well, and I wouldn't hesitate at it. Like I would look to see how much of it is like surface mount components. I suspect a lot of it is through hole. If it's mostly through hole components, you can do it. It's just going to take a long time because there are a lot of controls. There's a lot of soldering to do. Like, to give you an idea, is like one of these modules, like some of them are pretty fast, but like if you're talking the VCA mixer, I'm essentially building 4 VCAs and 4 mixers in one module, and that takes at least an hour or two just for the one thing. So it's going to be, and that's doing it efficiently and fast if you have everything. So I think it could be done by somewhat of a novice, but it would probably be better to have some other DIY projects under your belt. And there's a lot of cool things to build in terms of synths and DIY. So like start with modules. Eurorack modules are good ones too. There's a lot of them that are DIY. Surface mount kind of sucks, but you'll get the hang of it. It's just more of like getting the component in the right spot.
I think first step is to get space for a workshop.
Yeah.
So that's like, I think ever since I got into like, I mean, I've always been into DIY stuff, and it's just like watching people build stuff. It's like, I wish I had a workshop. I do like little DIY stuff, here and there, but it's like the really bigger projects where it's like you need space, you need like a workbench, and you need like store your tools. It's just like,
it is nice to have space. I will say that for like DIY electronic stuff, you don't need a ton of space. You just need like a few of those like screw boxes, right? Like the hardware store boxes that hold little components. You need a few of those just for like all the random stuff you get. And those are storable like under a desk or something. I think I want to say like Needless Mustard or somebody has like a whole setup under a desk basically, but like my workshop until we moved into the middle of nowhere was the kitchen table, which is not ideal because you have to like take everything out and then like get it all ready and then like do the soldering, and like the kitchen smells like solder for a while and like that kind of thing. So it is nice to have space for it.
Then you got to clean it up.
Yeah, and that wasn't a huge thing. Like my partner and I, like she got me into like soldering and DIY stuff, so it wasn't that huge of a deal. But yeah, you got to clean it up, or you can't use a kitchen table, and like it's leaded solder, so there's always like, should we be using leaded solder where we eat?
And it's like, oh, should I do it now? But it's like, oh, it's close to dinner time. Like, oh. you know, like the timing of everything too.
Yeah, but like all the pictures of my disassembled MS-10 were done on the kitchen table.
Nice.
Since then, I've upgraded a bit. Yeah. All right. I think I'm getting sleepy, and I don't know if Tim Code's going to be back, so I think we're going to call it.
Okay.
Technically speaking, like, I think this was the least technical issues we've had on a What the Heck. So yeah, I think I will keep using this next week as well. Like, it seemed pretty seamless. It was easy to invite people. We didn't have to like do crazy things with loopback and sending audio places to both like OBS and Zoom. So I'll probably,
yeah, the audio, the quality is good too.
Yeah, that's good.
It's usable.
As with all of my tests, I'll probably go back and listen to it later. Yeah, it feels really professional, but like it's all just baked into this thing. Like I can click this and like now you're real big and I'm real small, and like it does the animations and all that cool stuff. So yeah, I'm digging it.
Cool.
All right. Thank
all
you
right.
so much for coming on. I'm
nice
gonna do
chatting.
The outro, which I made. It's not very sleepy time, but whatever. It's good enough.
It's all right. I'm still awake.
It's audio. Ooh. Huh.
All right, have a good night, man. As you take
too.
us out.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later. Bye.